This man, there was no ball there in the
Hey, you beautiful people out there.
Good evening, y'all.
So, welcome back to JBTV. This is Game 3 opinions from Jay and the first quarter go in your perspective.
Well, for the first quarter, which I expected, first home game in the finals in five years for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Definitely a lot of energy early on. And I think Golden State did a pretty good job of weathering all the hype and loudness from the Cleveland fans. They kind of got a little shaky at times, but I think they weathered it pretty good. They came out with a little bit different intensity, but I think one thing they still got to work on, they got to stop with these slow starts. They still letting Cleveland kind of push them around a little bit, starting the game off, and it's kind of like Cleveland's always the first team to throw the first punch, and I see that a lot now. And I think Golden State just have to come out there and get physical and match the intensity early. Don't wait to get punched. They got to match it early. And so overall, I think the first quarter played pretty good. Of course, Cleveland. I think the end of the first quarter, Cleveland was up by 24-20, and I think, like I said, I think Golden State still has to settle down a little bit.
Stephen Curry came out with a 3-point. He was hot. He was hot for a little bit first quarter.
A little bit. A little bit.
That's why I said a little bit.
In my perspective,
came out with a 3. He hit a 3. He missed his first few shots though.
Well,
then hit a 3.
Well,
then,
in my perspective, I think Curry approached the game a little different. I think he approached the game with, because if you look at the last game, for one, he broke the NBA record for the most missed threes in the finals. So I think he approached the game different with trying to get his teammates involved instead of just settling for jumpers. With his dribbling ability and his way to get into the paint, I think he tried to create space for others, which was a good idea. You saw a little bit Bogut more in the first quarter. And
Bogut couldn't get no rebounds though in the first quarter. The first few minutes, he did have that big old blocking moment, that block though. Cleveland, Mike Miller dodging for the ball at the age of 13.
Well,
that was a good play for him.
For me to see, this is what I actually tweeted this earlier. I tweeted this earlier in the game that I said that it's funny how you're seeing these former Miami Heat players bring this championship culture to Cleveland. With James Jones, Mike Miller, you gotta even say LeBron James, because you can say he's a champion now, but when he left Cleveland, he was not a champion. He came back as a champion. So that's why I said he's bringing the championship culture actually back to Cleveland. And he's bringing some former players who won 2 championships with him on that ride. So you look at what Mike Miller did. Did he score a lot of points? No. Did he shoot a lot of threes? No. But it's the little things that he's done. And D-Wade pointed that out at halftime, that you could see that he had some role players who were ready to take that big step into being able to make plays. James Jones knocked down a couple of big threes early in the first half. Mike Miller hustling off the ball, because he basically played very big minutes with Iman Shepherd, injuring his shoulder. Glad to see he was okay, but you see that, happening. You see the guys that stepped up, so you got to give credit to Mike Miller and James Jones stepping up and really making big plays in the game.
Now, going on to the second quarter, James Jones was not in foul trouble, but he had his third foul literally at the beginning of the second quarter. So, and J.R. Smith was really hot in the second quarter.
Yeah, J.R. Smith had a big game.
Yeah. And during the second quarter, you saw, Golden State missing a lot of unnecessary shots that should have been made, like the floater ball.
One thing I saw in the second quarter, one thing that you got to really take note of, that Cleveland's playing very, very, very physical with Golden State. And you can, as good as Golden State is, they basically are not able to do what they're used to doing. What I mean is that spacing the floor, getting into the paint, kicking out, and moving the ball. They're having a hard time because Cleveland is rubbing up on them so tight on defense that they're having to cut through so many screens and so much bumping and pushing going around that it's disrupting their flow of offense. And I think that's one thing that's really hurting the offense just total as far as threes being stayed. There's no flow to Golden State Warriors. Cleveland basically is dictating the tempo, the style of play. They're pretty much controlling the whole game from start to finish.
Yeah,
and Golden State has to change that.
Yeah, you made a great point while the game was going on, as far as how the tempo and the pace of each team plays originally. You see, the Warriors originally play a fast tempo paced game. Even looking at their series on the Western side. Western
Conference.
And the Western Conference. And then looking at Cleveland, they used to a slow paced game, just getting by like they've been doing. So it's like, I don't know why the Golden State Warriors feel like they need to play the Cleveland tempo as opposed to their original tempo, because if they play their normal tempo of pace of a game, they'll be blowing them out because they won't be able to keep up. So, you guys, I missed the third and fourth quarter on purpose because I was kind of nervous about the game and I didn't want to see anything, no messed up calls or anything like that. But he stayed and watched, so I'm just going to be asking him, how that went. So in third quarter, how did that go?
The third quarter started out okay for Golden State. I think they got the opening. They got the ball at half, and the first play, I think Stephen Curry dribbled off to the middle of the paint and kicked a good pass to Bogut, and he scored. And the first thing I thought was, okay, of course they were down by 7, I believe, going into the half. So they scored that bucket. I said, okay, good way to come out at half. I think Cleveland scored, and it was kind of like kind of physical a little bit the first couple of minutes. Then, Cleveland had the biggest explosion I've seen so far in its finals. It was. I can go as far as saying that at some point, I think that Golden State were playing like they had already lost the championship. That's how bad it was. You talking about the third quarter, a series tie 1-1. The way the game was looking, you would think this was a closeout game. Cleveland went on a run, and I think it was down to like 5 minutes in the third quarter that was left. I think they were up by like almost 20 points. And I think at one point they reached it to 20. And at that point, I began to tweet because my thing was, this is where you find out what your team's truly made of. Steph Curry, all his role players, the whole team, Golden State. Now, not just the players, the coaching staff too. How are you going to motivate your team? And there's two things that I saw that really inspired me to really see this Warriors team. One thing you got to remember is Golden State's never been in this position. I'm not just talking about, they've been down 2-1 in the playoffs this year against Memphis Grizzlies, but they've never been to the finals. LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers got to a point in the third quarter where they kind of started showboating, and they kind of started just kind of lollygagging around and kind of, overly celebrating. And you know how as a player, you get to a point where you need some motivation. Like, nothing's going your way. You can't make no shots. Your offense is off. They're scoring on you. At some point, it's just being an athlete and competitor. You get to this point where it self-motivates you. And I saw that in the Warriors. You could see that Steve Kerr was trying to find ways to motivate his team. And he just started mixing up lineups with putting Iguodala and Barbosa in. And then he inserted David Lee. David Lee was the big key that sparked the end of the third quarter going to the fourth quarter.